Riding the Victory Gunner was fun while it lasted, but it was time for me to give up the keys and give it back to its owner. Just like I said before, the Victory Gunner was never my motorcycle, but I do have cool family members that let me ride their bikes. But before we can get back on the Indian Chief project, I wanted to figure out why this bike kept popping fuses, making the speedometer, the signal lights, and of course the brake light go out. But you know, of course, give someone their bike better than I received it, similar to how I treated the Rocket 3. So yeah, let's dive into this wiring and see what we can come up with, and then of course go for one last ride on the Victory Gunner. I mean, looking at this stuff from a general glance, nothing's really out of place. Alright, I thought this was gonna be easy. I put everything back together, and as soon as I flipped the switch to start the bike, it popped the fuse. Alright, so I got a brand new fuse in there. I'm gonna turn the key. This time we're gonna see what happens. It popped it again. So it's not the headlights. Something is popping these fuses, man. Alright, after some troubleshooting, I think I isolated where the fuse is popping, or where the electrical issue is. So check this out. Disconnected the headlight, still popping. Disconnected the front signal on both sides, still popping. Disconnected the rear set of signals, and I'm pretty sure the brake light runs through this line as well. There's a lot of splices that's going on here. The popping stopped. So the brake light is still not on. So that means I disconnected it when I did this. So something in here is causing this bike to pop. I don't know if this is because this is a bad load equalizer now. All right, after getting the headlight back and the signals on the front hooked back up, let's see. So that's the headlight. Let's see, left signal. Are we gonna get signals? Oh, we don't have any signals. That escalated quickly. I want to figure it out. All right, so this is the splicing and the load equalizer, and that's PB Blast. I'm trying to get those rusted bolts off, and these are the signals, and the signals look like, I mean, it's not the cleanest wiring, but yeah, I can tell you this, the Chief is a lot cleaner in the rear. All right, so here's what I did. I cleaned these up a little bit. One of them was pretty loose, and basically pushed it all back together, cleaned it up, and you can see that these are getting pretty worn, and it just makes me wonder if they're the connections are just getting weak. Let's see. So we got no more popping, and I do have it connected, and let's see if we get turn signal. So I'm not getting turn signal. What about hazards? All right, so the hazards are working, and you can actually hear the relay clicking, which is interesting. But it's odd that we're not getting any signals. All right, I just plugged the brake light back up, and okay, that's running. So the only thing we're missing now is we're not getting any signals. I used a light tester to test the power up until this connector right here, and it's all getting power. So I don't know if that was like that before I got it. I just don't know, but the rear end is working now. I just found out that the signal lights on Gunner do not work unless the fuel pump is primed. Check this out. So this is the bike primed with the fuel pump, and now it's working. You hear the relay doing some things. So it does work. But it gets even better. Check this out. Being that these bikes are very similar, I took the signal light off the Chief and I put it on Gunner. And check this out. Actually, wrong button. It actually works. And when we prime the fuel pump, that signal is actually working. So that lets me know that it is not the connectors or the bike, it is the fact that this signal is not working. And I'm wondering, was it even working in the first place when I got the bike? I don't remember, but now that I know that this stuff actually works, I'm gonna slap it all back together, and we're gonna go for a final ride tomorrow morning.
But this is officially my last ride on the Gunner. I truthfully was prepared to tell you guys that I wasn't going to miss this bike because I felt like it didn't have a place, a permanent place in my garage anyway, even though the bike isn't mine. But when I compare this bike to like my Vrod, my N109R, and now my Wreck Chief, because I know, you know, once Chief is going to be rebuilt and it's done, it's essentially what this bike is, at least in a better form. And it just made me wonder, you know, did this bike, if I bought it with my own money, did it really have a place in my garage? Truthfully, it is a very quick bike. It's got the quarter turn throttle set up. I want to say the bike has a ECU flash, so pretty much a tune for those that don't know. It's got a nice seating position for me at 5 feet 10 inches with these bars, even though they're freaking pointy as hell. It's got a nice Two Brothers exhaust on it. It's a very nimble bike. I think the big thing that I don't like about it is the fact that it doesn't have a more meatier tire at the rear. It only has like a 140 at the rear, but it has that bobber front end. That's one of the biggest things I don't like about this bike. But my buddy is coming to get his bike today, and it's been bittersweet, man. I've enjoyed riding this bike, but outside of the fuse issues that this bike has had, it's been rock solid, man. It is a fantastic bike. And I also didn't catch this on camera, but when the fuse was out, I ended up running out of gas on the bike. And I literally ran out of gas at a stop sign leaving work on my commute. And essentially the bike cut off. And I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why is the bike like stuttering? And eventually I came to a final stop at a stop sign, and I was like, dude, I see the gas station right there. It was like a quarter mile down the road, and I literally got the bike started just enough to do one quick pull in traffic, and I coasted into the gas station. So that is one big reason why this speedometer is so huge. Other than being able to see your gearing, it gives you the fuel indicator and of course your miles to let you know how many miles you have left to your own E, or at least the gas light lets you know. So the Freedom 106, I've given it so much praise. It really is a fantastic motor. But I can tell you that even though I'm having fun on this bike right now, I probably wouldn't buy one. And it's because I've been exposed to bikes like Chief, and I know what they're capable of with the new tech and everything. And if I had to put my money on a bike that I would buy, it would probably be the Victory Magnum. Like right now, when I drop my buddy's bike off, I'm not gonna tell him, dude, don't sell that bike, because I know he wants to sell it and get something else. But my buddy that had the Victory Magnum, I was very adamant on saying, hey, do not sell this bike. This bike is a freaking gem. And this bike is a gem, but I think it is a gem for not me, but for somebody else. Because again, I am more into muscle bikes. I had the N109R, I had the Vrod. And like I said, the big thing that I can't get over is that small rear end that this bike has. I wish it came with like a 180, but I know some people will say, well, Brandon, that compromises the handling, which it does. It makes it handle a lot worse than what it already does. Not to say that the bike handles bad, it dips into curves really well. But for me, I think a compromise for that look, I would rather have something a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna try to get my hands on the Victory Hammer, because some of you have been saying, well, Brandon, you're a muscle bike guy, you like the Hammer. You would like the Hammer more than you would like the Gunner. And again, this bike will be perfect for a lot of people. And the price point compared to something like, you know, the new Chiefs, this bike is way more affordable. Another thing I can tell you guys that I didn't appreciate until I got the Indian Chief was how Indian hid all of these wires. All of these wires are hidden inside the bars outside of the clutch cable and the brake line. And my N109R is the exact same way. All the cables are exposed. And I can tell you, the next time I buy handlebars for a bike like my N109R or my Vrod, I'm going to try to find bars that I can hide the wires in, man, because it just cleans the look of the bike up so much. See, this bike dips into a curve so easily. Oh, let me slow down. They were a little low sitting in the garage. Dude, this... it just rips, man. It rips so good. God, this bike. yeah, I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna miss this bike. I'm definitely gonna miss this bike. Scraping peg, no problem at all though. Dragging peg on this bike is actually pretty satisfying. Bikes like this are fun, man, when you can just, the whole point of these bikes is the torque. You can just pull off the line and it's just, oh, it's just every time. That's what makes these bikes so much fun. You got a lot of sport bike riders that don't like these kind of bikes because they don't have a lot of top end, but that's not the point, man. It's the just ripping on them from a stoplight, and moments like this is fun, man. Look at this. This is fun. Yeah, man. You can't tell me. You can't tell me this isn't a good buy, man. Oh my God, that exhaust. It is undefeated. This exhaust is freaking undefeated, man. It's undefeated. It sounds so good. Yeah, it's undefeated. Roads like this is when this bike really comes alive for me. Other than city riding, because it's just like open road. There's not too much wind from like the interstate or the main roads. And of course, back roads is where you get the most scenery anyway. But this is a very enjoyable moment, especially to spend, you know, the final moments with this bike. I'd be lying to y'all if I didn't tell y'all that freaking wind, oh my God, that wind freaking sucks on this bike, man. It really does suck. When you got like different trucks and cars just cutting holes in the air and it's just causing you to go like this on the highway and it's throwing your head around, it is not comfortable. The big thing I can say that this bike would need in this setup is a freaking windshield. But I know that's gonna ruin the look. But moments like this is where this bike freaking shines. The suspension, man, it's not soft and it's not overly stiff. It's kind of like very abrupt, but it rebounds pretty quick. It doesn't bounce me off the seat, and it doesn't completely bottom out where I feel it in my back. But riding this bike around, stuff like this, man, this makes this bike so much fun to ride. This is where this bike shines for me, moments like this. But I can proudly say that I think we fixed that fuse. It hasn't gone out, and I put about 60 miles on this bike so far today, and that fuse popped way quicker than 60 miles. So I think I can say that taking that fender off, isolating the issue towards the rear set of signals, that is what was going to fix it.
Alright folks, what better way to end my time with the Gunner than to bring it to the state capitol. But like I said before, at first I wasn't going to miss this bike, but truthfully I am going to miss it. But hey, it's time to go pick up another bike. But as always, thanks for listening to my story, and if you're new here, you want to catch up on this series, you can click this playlist right here on the screen. You can start from the beginning when I received the Gunner. But hey, if you're subscribed, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.